I'm going to go ahead and cut another one or two of these. I got a little bit more fiber matting today. This is the Bondo. I think that's what this other stuff was too. This is the fiberglass cloth. This is the matting. I'm gonna use this cloth right here. I think it's similar, it's just a tighter weave. So I'm gonna mark this out and cut a couple of them. Alright guys, with this right here, what I'm doing, I'm just doubling up the fiberglass matting so I can just do one trace line around what I need, cut it once, and have two pieces set up. With this matting, with the scissors I'm using, two pieces is about max is all I can get cut out. If I had, better scissors at that, I would use them, but that matting is pretty tough. So not all the way to the top. I'm gonna go about right there. About 50 drops of hardener. Alright guys, what you see here, really nothing. I'm just I'm dripping in the hardener into the resin. 50 drops for that amount. Supposed to stir it for a good solid minute, mixing very well. And when you see here next, I'm going to put a light brush coat on the plastic to begin with to give the matting somewhere to adhere to as I start to really layer it on. I'll put the bottom layer on first, start getting it matted down, and then you'll see me put the top layer on here in a second on the upper side. And what I'm doing is I'm allowing about a 1/4 inch overlap between the bottom and the top side there, just to let those start folding in, and I'll just start sandwiching them back and forth like that, bottom, top, and trying to press that corner in as tight as I can get it to where there's no, it's more of a straight edge than a radius in that corner. So I'm going to continue doing that through this entire process, just layering and matting and making sure everything ties in together. Okay. Do the next layer of this. Just press it down in there. Another layer of this. And yes, it is getting built up pretty thick, but that's what I want, because I want to be able to build it thick and then bring it back down. And that is pretty much it for the resin. I gotta mix up another batch real quick. Spare batch of resin real quick. I still got, after this right here, I still got one more of the tops and two more of the bottoms. Alright guys, as I go along with this right here, what I'm thinking about doing, because I also need to make a headliner. Well, they don't make headliner buckets for these cars anymore, and back then they were made out of like a thick fiberboard. It was almost a 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch thick. So my thought is, I can't turn the car upside down. I don't have a rotisserie for it. So I'm actually going to take a piece of some clear plastic, put over the roof line of the car. I will then layer 7 to 10 layers of fiberglass matting, thick fiberglass matting, make a headliner shell. That will probably be this spring whenever it gets a little warmer outside, and let that go trim it to fit, and then put my matting and my pad and all that and the upholstery, and it should be really easy to make. That's the only way I can think of actually making a headliner without flipping the car upside down. I'm just going to paint a layer on right now to get it to soak in. This cloth is a little bit more thicker than the matting. When I started working on this car, I didn't think I'd be having to get this heavily involved, but I knew there was always the chance, since the history with these cars and all the plastics being this old. You know, that's what you get with plastics from the 60s and 70s, is that they just don't hold up over time. You know, even plastics nowadays don't hold up over time, especially when you know, I've know all the Arizona AMC guys are like, oh yeah, no, like that. Well, they have plastic issues almost just as worse, because any AMC vehicle that was left outside in the Arizona heat just crumbly. Yeah, they want to argue with me, they can, but I've seen it. I've seen the posts from people, and I've been at a couple of Arizona car shows where they have AMCs, and they say that's one of their hardest thing is the plastics just don't last out there in the heat. I'm gonna just tip these over, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sort of wrap this behind, more than likely. Get this wet, and I'm actually overdoing the fiberglass on the edges so I can trim it back. Go ahead and just smear the rest of this here on, mainly up here in these corners. This top part right here, which screws into the upper dash pad, it was all wavy because of the heat cracking, and so this right here will help flatten that back out and make it look nice. And I'll skim coat this with a fiberglass filler, smooth it back out, and then my gauges, you won't even see this pattern anymore. The gauges, I'll just cut the holes to fit the gauges. Same thing for up here. And then I'll be able to cut the holes for the vents. All right, we'll let that sit overnight. You know, for the next 6 hours. It's midnight again, but I think it's going to look good, guys. We'll reconvene tomorrow. All right, it's the next morning. This is at time to dry. It's pretty good. There again, you know, gonna have to clean it up and smooth it out. Go ahead and cut some of these stragglers. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm pretty sure this aluminum tape should peel off. Yeah, good. back of it's still a little sneaky. That's just from the aluminum tape not letting it breathe on the back, but it can breathe now. And what I think this fiberglass should peel off of this plastic. If it does, I'm going to peel it off and let it cure some more. When I go to use it, I'll probably just put it back on this shell. All right. Right, I've got that just roughly sanded down. It looks really nice. I've left a few parts proud, like this corner, which was broke off, and then this over here. I'm pretty sure I got to trim this back, but I wanted to leave it proud. And what I'll do is I'll fit it. This whole upper section here pretty much gets hid underneath the dash pad, and then this lower section sits down on top of that the dash panel. Where the switches used to be and are no longer. So what I've got next, I've got some fiberglass filler. I'll go through and do a small, just a skim coat of that. This is pretty flat. It's not too bad at all. There's a couple places I need to hit still, but that's why I did so many layers of glass. That's 4 layers right there. I just did 2 on this outside corner because I didn't want to get it too thick. But on the face, there's 4. And 4 layers is probably a 1/16 of an inch thick, which that in itself stiffened this up tremendously. This thing was not that stiff. So I'm going to let it sit for just a little bit, let that finish curing. We'll come back to it with the filler. I filled these 2, so where the switches were, it sort of had about a 1/16 of an inch indent. And I've already filled that up, and I've sort of fixed this crack that was down the center here. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut a piece that will lay across the entire top side of it here. I'm going to sand this hump down just a little bit more, and then I'll cut a piece that fits across here, and maybe even overlaps in the front of this a little bit to thicken up this wall some. Other than that, it should be fine. And then this right here, I've got it made up now, will cover where the old indicator lights were for your directionals, your warning lights and stuff. I've got this now made up to where it will cover that up. So that will all be hidden now behind it, which it sort of was before, but now it will be for good. So that fits good in there now. And I still have to make this up. I actually epoxied and fiberglass this piece in right here. I've got to drill a hole through this right here. That's what actually helps hold it to the upper dash pad. And then I have to do a little fiberglass work along this outer edge. I got to bring it out. I'm pretty sure it's got to come out almost, maybe not, maybe about a ½ inch away from the end here. So I got about a ½ inch I got to build out on this. But what I can do is, whenever I make my fiberglass piece here, I'll lay it flat on something and I'll build it out to here. I just got to, I can set this here aside real quick. I'm gonna set it here on the table. I'll bring my upper dash pad over. Let's see here, I'm gonna set it where y'all can see it. All right, right here is the plastic nut that has a bolt that goes into the dash pad here, and then this metal piece right here, and that metal piece just sits behind here, sort of acting like a washer. Actually, to be honest, I believe this is, I don't even know if this is factory. Somebody just probably put this in there to help stiffen it whenever they broke it. But let's see here. I think this very corner here is original. So what I need to do is I need to drill that hole so I can slide it on. And then from that point, I need to build it out probably about 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch with some fiberglass. Let me see if I can drill this hole real quick, get the location and drill it. Today is my last day off on my vacation, so I'm trying to do a little bit more work. You know what, I'm just going to do a little oversized hole there. That will be just fine. Grab my drill here. It doesn't have to be perfect because it can have a washer in its head. So I just drilled a, I don't know, it's probably about a little bit less than ½ inch hole. Let's see here, which way does this need to go? Upside down here. It goes like that. Yep. All right. So I need to, all right. If I put that metal washer they had there, put that plastic nut on, and it's built this way. I can use a regular nut, but you put this all together, then your lower dash panel, which is the steering column cover and everything else that goes on too. I'll leave it off just for a second. And what I can do, okay, that's on. Grab this upper dash panel right quick. Let's see here. This has still got to be trimmed some. But more or less we're in the right round. Yep, I gotta trim it a good bit. So that will sit in there like that. Okay, I got a good bit of trimming to do. I got to trim off this corner like I thought I did. And I got to trim that back this face a little bit, but I need to leave that. Gotcha. So this will all work out. It'll work out good. All right. One piece at a time. But it all has to work together. So I'm gonna put this back on here for a minute. I don't want to lose it. Look at this right here. So this right here, this curve fits into that. I know that's true. So I just need to, I need to cut this back. This sort of sits in. I need to cut that corner right there off. Okay, got a marker here too. So from here down, round it over, and that section right there needs to be cut. Remember. Lining it up on that side. The gap is fine. Here, the gap is fine on the bottom. Great. All right. So now, this right here is good there. So I just need to finish the fiberglass on this piece right here. And I'm going to do it, overdo it a little bit also, like I said. So I've got room to adjust. I probably need, I'm just going to overshoot about a ½ inch off the end of it. So let me set this off to the side, let it dry. Hey girl, how you doing? That sander works good, but I need to get into a few of the tight spots on this thing. So I also have this little Black & Decker. This thing here, I've had this for years. It works great. It's got a little dust collection system on the back, but I'm going to use my vacuum here also. It collects in the dust, but it takes these triangular pads. Diablo makes some good ones. I got 220 and 80. I'm going to go ahead and use 80 on it. They rough it up, that way the glass will stick to it real good. And the cool thing about these triangular pads is you can make them either just the front edge or you can do the whole thing. I like using the whole thing because this right here, actually you can use the back of it to get into some tight spots in this front. You can actually work in the corners. All right, y'all can sort of see how flimsy and floppy this thing is, even still, just because there's no support right here. So what I am going to do, along with putting some fiberglass on the top, I am going to come across the back side too, on the inside here, and continue what I've done here and just lay 2 strips of fiberglass here just to strengthen everything up. And but I'm going to do this top side first. That should help out a lot. I'm going to use this fine, or this tighter mesh weave cloth here. So I'll put that there. I'll take this Sharpie. I'm going to mark I'm going to let it go past that. Mark this out. Okay. I'm going to cut that one out, and then I'll use it as a template to cut out multiples. And then all these little scrap pieces that I'm getting off of it, I can use those . So that one is good there. And I left it long. And is this the other long one? I think so. Yeah. All right. And this is the shorty. And I didn't go all the way to the edge over here on that one, but I stayed long on that again. Okay. So I'm going to lay those off. How about this? An old hockey puck that I cut up as a bench block. Is that sort of right? I think that will work. I'm just going to it's almost perfect. What can I do? What can I do? I can shim it by the thickness of a thin piece of cardboard. So I want the flat edge. Is that too much? Nope, that's just about right. I'm going to add 2 more pieces of this heavy mesh to that end. And it really, that end, I mean, literally it's like 3/8 of an inch, but it needs to look good because that gap did not look good. That's actually, whenever I got in the car originally, before I bought it, I knew the car was pretty much trashed. The only reason I bought it was because for the price that I paid for the car, it was probably the best one in shape. And I knew with what I was going to do to the car that with the different engine, different suspension, that it really didn't matter what it was going to be. I knew the engine was okay. The engine runs, but I've got it for sale. It's a 304 V8. Okay. I think I'm gonna let it sit there, guys. If I need to do anything to this other piece here. This is, yeah, and see it's been sitting for just a few minutes and this is already drying out, which is great. I don't think I really need to add any more to that. Make sure I didn't move that down. I'm wondering if I should add a few pieces back here. Yeah, I might do that. Let's see here, what do I want to add? See, yeah, that's still a little bit wet, but it's laying flatter now. It's actually setting up. This right here feels decent. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna leave everything alone now. I don't know how long that part of the video was, but for me it felt like a couple hours. I know last night I was out here for an hour or so videoing, and I cut the whole video down with cuts and using hyperlapse to 14 minutes. But I'm gonna probably add this onto it, so it maybe be a 30-minute video. We'll see. When you're doing stuff like this, yes, and I am touching it with my bare finger. When you're doing stuff like this, time just really passes pretty fast. And so, but anyways, we'll continue on with it. I'm just glad that all this right here is going to be done. This is what I was most worried about. And originally I was going to keep the original instrument cluster, and then along with the switches, to be honest, I'm thinking what happened is that the windshield was leaking. It was leaking on to the dash somehow or another, or just the amount of moisture that was getting constantly put in the car. Anything metal pretty much flash rusted through the entire car, including the instrument cluster. The front face looked good, but once I pulled them out, the back of them for like the speedometer and the fuel and temp, because that's all this one had. This was a base model. or the base gauges, the instrument cluster, it was, or the odometer and the speedometer, they were corroded badly. And so then I knew I was going to do aftermarket gauges, and then I realized, well, I might as well do I was going to go back in with the 304 or find a 360 to throw into it. And then I got to talking with somebody, and then I found the suspension system, and then I realized that the suspension system can be changed over to LS. And I was like, well, I might as well throw an LS in it. And it just kept snowballing. But I'm happily at a place now where I'm like, okay, I know what I want in it. There's really nothing else that I want to put in it. I want to keep it somewhat simple. People are like, well, the LS is not simple. It pretty is. It pretty much is, especially nowadays, where I don't have to go pull a harness out of a truck and then go through it and all that. The LQ4 engine that I want to put into it, stroked out, plus the 6L80. The 6L80 did not come on the LQ4 early LS engines, but they still bolt together. You just have to get a different reluctor ring for timing, and then you have to do something different with the torque converter. But Holley makes a, I don't even know if y'all can see me. Holley makes a, let me see here. Holley makes a harness that will work for the LQ4 and allow you to run the 6L80 also. So that's set up. They also have a drive-by-wire throttle pedal that will work with the same system, and that's what I'm wanting to do. I want to keep as much out of the bay as possible. That's sort of what I'm looking to do. I'm sort of looking to also hide the wires. That's why I was talking about using that seal-tight or watertight flex conduit to run through the rocker panel for the wiring coming from the rear to the front. And then I'm going to use a bulkhead wiring connector that goes through the firewall, and I'm going to try to hide as much of the wiring as possible. Maybe even hide it in the fenders. Not because there's that dual fender. So the inner fender has a trough in it. And if I run a piece of that seal-tight conduit from inside through that inner trough, the outer fender that's on top of it, you'll never see it. Even from underneath, you'll never see it. So if I can hide the wiring, that's what my plan is. And I think it will look really nice if I can do that. Anyways, I'm going to end the video here, guys. We'll let this dry. I don't know if I'll come back to it today. It might be sometime this weekend. I work the weekend. I work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Monday, Tuesday, I'm off. Perhaps we'll see, and we'll get to it eventually. This week I've been just trying to clean up in here. I've actually organized a lot, you know, and got a lot of stuff set up the way I want it. The next project after this will more than likely be the media blasting of the car. And after he's done with that, then I can start doing all the welding and cutting out the trunk pan and making the box. I've got a 4-foot metal brake there that I'm going to use to fold my box corners so they weld up nice. And I've also got a bead roller. So I'm going to actually put bead rolls in the floor pan there also and in the sides. That way it stiffens it up and it's not making a bunch of... You ever take a piece of metal and shake it and it makes that whoop, whoop, whoop sound? Well, you bead roll it, it stiffens it, you don't have that. So I'm going to do that. I'm also going to do the same thing in the firewall area where I have to cover up the where the old AC blower used to be. I'm going to bead roll the piece, stick it in there, weld that. We'll see. There's a lot of places I can use that equipment. Same thing with the metal brake. Anyways, you guys have a good one. I'll see you next time. Like, share, subscribe.